Welcome back, AACPS staff and students. In this video, we're going to start looking at the options for editing a video assignment that you're creating here in WeVideo Classroom. If you watched the Getting Started video, you know that we added a piece of text here, we added an image to the video track, and then we recorded a quick audio clip to narrate over what we are creating. Now we're going to focus on the options we have for editing. When you select on a piece of media from your project creation area, you have a toolbar that appears just above that project creation area with all kinds of options for how you can edit that selected piece of media. So you always want to make sure that you click on the piece of media that you want to edit. For example, if I want to change the words that are in my text that I added, I need to select on that before I choose any of the options up here on my editing toolbar. If what I wanted to edit was that image of the pineapple, I would select on that first. So let's go back to our text and we'll begin with that one. Working from left to right on our editing toolbar, the first option is to add a new track. Depending on how many layers you need in your project, you might choose to add another video or text track or even another audio track. So if I wanted to narrate but I also wanted to have some soft music playing in the background, adding an additional audio track would let me put in that extra piece of media so that I could have both my narration that I already recorded as well as that music playing. Then we come to two very common options that you see in a lot of your digital programs, and that is undo and redo. And they will allow you to undo or redo the last step that you made. So if you accidentally deleted something or edited something and you thought, whoops, that wasn't what I meant to do, undo is super helpful for that. Split allows you to cut a particular piece of media. You can cut off the beginning of a piece, you can cut off the end of a piece. So for example, if I put my playhead right at the end of that text and I select down here on the image and I choose split, it's going to cut that right there into two separate pieces of media. Split is a great way to take off the beginning of a video, the end of a video, cut out a part in the middle of a video where maybe you accidentally coughed or sneezed or something. So once you've split something where you want it to be split, you can take this additional piece and move it someplace else, or you can even select on delete if your intention is to remove that piece of media. A newer tool recently added to the editor's toolbar is comment. You'll find that in between split and audio and opacity. If you are working on a project independently, comment is a great way to remind yourself of things that you want to add later. If you're working on a team project, comments can also be a way for members of the team to communicate changes that they recommend be made or questions that they have about changes that a teammate is making. One of the most important things about comment, just like split, is you need to place your playhead exactly where you want to make the comment before you click on comment, and it will be inserted in exactly that place. Once you're done, you select add, and your comment will be added to that exact spot on the track, and it will be indicated by this little gray dot. When you select on it, it will reopen your comment so that you can see the comment you made. And again, if you were working on a team project, you would be able to see any replies made by team members to the comment that you had added in a thread here. After split, we come to audio and opacity. Audio allows me to turn on the audio level for some of my media, and then I can do things like adjust the volume of that by selecting on that audio level right there, that blue line that appeared, and now I can grab these white dots and I can pull the audio down or up. So if I wanted it to start off quiet and get a little bit louder, that's a great thing to do if you've got music in there where you can have it start off really quiet and then get louder and louder, sort of that crescendo idea, but it allows you to adjust the audio levels throughout your video project that you're creating. The other option here was opacity. And if you're not familiar with opacity, opaque means something is not see-through, whereas transparent means something is slightly see-through. So I've selected back on my picture here, and my opacity appears as this green bar across the top. And if I drag that white dot and pull it down, I'm making it so that this clip is slightly transparent. And what you'll see when I put my playhead back at the very beginning and I start to play, and now I'm narrating over top of my video and text box, that image of the pineapple kind of slowly fades in. We've made it slightly transparent at the beginning, and then the opacity or inability to see through it is ramped up as we go through that clip. So opacity is the ability to make something transparent so that you could see whatever is behind it through there. And that's a great option for transitions. Let's select on our text, and now we're going to click on Edit. And this is the one that has the most options out of everything that you can do here when you're working in a WeVideo project. So for example, if what you're editing is text, as it is in this case, we have the option to change the color of the text. If we wanted some of it to be yellow or pink or blue, and again, you may select on colors and you're like, oh, I don't understand, where's there blue anywhere in this? That's where the preview window over top of my video and text box that's where the preview window is great because it shows you where each of these colors appear. For example, this pale pink is just a part of those bubbles that pop out around the words. The next option here for editing your text is to change the text itself. So right now, the text just says, I want candy. Well, that doesn't really have anything to do with a picture of a pineapple. So we're going to change that to address the pineapple. You can change the font, and you can even change the size and style of the font. One additional option that you have while you're working on that is just to come over and select the handles here in order to move the font around on the screen to make it larger or smaller by simply dragging those handles out or in. Our next option, animation, represents another change that WeVideo has made recently. They've taken out a tool called transformation and replaced it with animation. Animations are also available for editing images, so you'll see this tool again. Animations allow you to determine a start position and an end position for this clip in your video project. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take my text and I'm going to grab a hold of those handles on the corner, and I'm going to make this text just as big as I possibly can and have it still fit on the screen. Now notice I'm selected on start position when I did that. Now I'm going to select here on end position, and I'm going to grab that text and I'm just going to make it smaller and smaller and smaller until you can barely see it, barely read it. It's almost completely disappeared from the screen. And now let's take a look at the effect that I've created by clicking our play button. So what animation allows you to do is determine how your clip, in this case text, will look at the beginning. In this case, very, very large, filling the whole screen, and it will gradually transition into the end position. So in this case, shrinking until it's so small you can barely see it, and then it disappears from the screen. So all you have to do is choose how you want the clip to appear at the beginning, how you want it to appear at the end, and then throughout the time that it plays, it will make that transition, in this case, shrinking. You could have something pan from the left side of the screen to the right side. You could have it grow instead of shrink. You could have it bounce from the left corner to the right. It just allows you to add some fun animations to this particular clip in your video by choosing a start and end position and then letting WeVideo take care of the rest. Once you have made all of the changes here for editing your text, you're going to want to come all the way over here to the upper right and choose Done. That's going to take you back to the editing window for the entire project itself. Notice if we select on the image down here and then choose edit again, the options we get are completely different than the options we saw just a moment ago to edit text. So what options you see depends on what type of media you've selected on. For example, an image like the pineapple in the background gives us some of the same options under transform. We can change the scale or size. We can change the position. We have the flip, rotate, opacity again. But next we have an option to crop this. So if we wanted to take off part of the picture, we can actually use these sliders here to crop out portions of the picture. So maybe I want less greenery on the left-hand side of the pineapple, or maybe I want to cut off the top of the pineapple, so on. So you can see how it's removing portions of that as I move these sliders. But I can also come over here and just manually do that myself by grabbing a hold of those little black handles on the edges and dragging them to the position that I want them to be. Moving on to our next option, it's animation. Animation allows me to do things like zooming in and zooming out, flying across the screen. What I do is I choose start and end positions. So I'm going to give you guys an example here. Right now I'm selected on start position. So if I take this picture of the pineapple and I shove it all the way off the left-hand side of the screen, now I'm going to select on end position, and I'm going to take the same picture of the pineapple and I'm going to shove it all the way off of the right-hand side of the screen. And then I'm just going to click play to show you the effect that I've created. And now I'm narrating over top of my video and text box to So you'll see that what we've created is an image that flies across the screen from left to right. And again, that was done by just choosing a start position and an end position for this particular clip. Had I used the scale, I could have done things like had the picture start really small and have it blow up or grow in size as the video plays. So it gives you these animation effects by just choosing where that clip of media is going to start and where it's going to end. Keying is super important for green screen. We're not going to go any further into keying right now, but it allows you to choose a color, usually green, and then remove that color so that it is completely transparent. Color gives us options to change things like brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, tint, and temperature so that I can make a video or image a little brighter, a little cleaner, a little crisper, and so on. And finally, we have the option to change the speed. If a video is playing too fast or too slow, you have the ability to slow it down or speed it up. Notice that it changes the entire length of the clip. So as I slow this down, I've now gone from a video that started at about 10 seconds to now I have a video that's closer to 40 seconds because it's going to play much slower. Once again, if I preview that, you'll notice the effect. We'll explain it to you in better detail. So that animation moves much slower across the screen because I've changed the speed and had it slow down. Once again, we have a change that WeVideo has made here in the editor's tools. They have added a tool for you to place a blur effect into a video project that you are creating. When you select on this option, you'll get the additional option in the window here to choose Add Blur. It will pop a box into the center of your video that blurs out the content. But as we've seen with other editing tools, you can drag that to a different position. You can use those handles in the corner to resize it so that you're covering the exact information that you want to blur. Maybe the teacher's making a project that has the students' names or student ID numbers in it. Maybe students are borrowing a video clip and some corner of it has something that isn't relevant to their video. Blur is a great way to remove the focus on that. And then we have the ability to choose the time in which that blur will show up and leave our video here by changing the position track and having the blur only focus on a part of this video clip. We also have the ability to add an additional blur by choosing up here where it says Add Blur Shape. So if I not only needed to blur something in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, but maybe something in the bottom right, I can add an additional blur. Maybe there's another place down here in the left. So I just keep adding additional blur rectangles and then moving them and resizing them as I need to make them fit the video project and cover up whatever information in this clip I don't want my viewers to see. Once you have made all of the changes that you would like, you would click on Done in the upper right-hand corner, but you also have an option to reset any of those changes that you make in each of these menu options. So if you're playing with the speed and you ultimately decide, wow, I really don't like what I created, I just wanted to see what would happen, you can always click Reset and it will take it back to the original transform, crop, animation, keying, and so on. I'm going to select on Done. And let's turn our attention back to our editing toolbar again. The next option here is to add filters to your video project. Filters include options to sort of change the color. Filters could be turning a color image into black and white or brightening a color image. When you select on anything, they show you on the left-hand side what it originally looked like and on the right-hand side what applying this filter would actually do to it. So as I go through and I click on these, you can see what each of them would change about the image. I have options to bleach, change to candy, which is mostly brightening or changing the color codes entirely. Monochromatic makes, like the frog could be entirely red or entirely blue. Subtle are subtle changes, and then effects give you things like blurring or sharpening the image. Once you have made all of the changes that you would like, you would click Apply. If you were simply checking out the options for filters, you could click on Cancel here so that you didn't keep everything that you had changed. I'm going to choose Apply. And now my pineapple has taken on that blue tint right there. And then our last option is delete. And delete, of course, is going to completely remove whatever piece of media you are currently selected on. So where I cut that earlier, I could completely delete out that additional clip if I no longer want that to be there. Check back in our next video where we're going to talk about some additional menu options around the screen when you are working in an assignment for WeVideo Classroom.